Okay, so we now know that Idealista is one of the most used platforms in Spain. Let's have a look at it, how you can use it for yourself as well. As said, anyone who is saying that Idealista is not the platform to find good deals or that all the good deals already taken from Idealista, that is not true. Because we are still finding today a lot of deals out there that a lot of people don't know how to search for. And that is exactly what I'm going to show you in this tutorial. This tutorial is about, we just did a webinar about it as well, how to analyze a city within 10 minutes. And let's do a calculation. It's now 7 or 5:55 and we are going to do this within 10 minutes. Okay, so the first way we start with is here. We are at the homepage of Idealista and we're going to, this is comprar is to buy, alquilar is to rent, and compartir is to share, and that is for room rentals, to share rooms in the same apartment. We're going to look at a city which is called Sabadell, and Sabadell is a city just outside of Barcelona. It's one of the bigger surrounding cities with around 200 inhabitants, 200k inhabitants, and we'll just have a look at how the city looks like. Okay, this is the first page where you then end up when you type in the name of the specific city. And what I first always do is just have a look at the different neighborhoods that are there. How is the city made up out of the different neighborhoods? What is the center? Kind of how can we have a look at which neighborhoods are most wanted? Just by aerial view, have a look at this. So this is the center. As you can see, it's quite a big neighborhood in the whole city. Sabadell is quite big, but they don't have that many neighborhoods, so this must be an interesting place to be. You have here a bordering neighborhood with a big park, and you have a river, normally a river that is attracting quite some people to live, but here the city center is more in the city center, also with the central market, as you can see. So most likely there is where you have a lot of apartments for sale. Now, before clicking on any neighborhood, let's just have a look at a basic thing where I always look at is that in the whole market of Sabadell, there are 2,400 apartments for sale, and you have a couple of new developments as well. And so without click on a neighborhood, what I always just do in the beginning is just click on all the 2,400 apartments for sale and just see what pops up. And we just first have a look here. We see an apartment for 155k euros. And by the way, there's always the ones that are boosted, the listings that are boosted by the agency are always showing up the highest and the first. As you can see here, for your imagination, that is top plus. You have also top, and top plus is where you need to pay the most to be seen the first, because always the first that is being seen has the most clicks in general. Makes sense, right? Okay, so that is then 155. Let's go low. It is then 350k, 100 square meters. You have here almost 300 for 100 square meters, 750, more expensive, but also more square meters. Professional video to show the apartment, 1.5 million, 600 square meters. It's Adosada, it's a house on itself. 420, you will see the prices, 300, 400, a lot around the 400 mark. You have a couple of lower ones and a couple of higher ones, but just have a look. So what I'm then doing always, I'm scrolling all the way down, because at one point, what Idealista is doing is helping you and giving you the square meter price, the average square meter price, which you can see here. The average square meter price of all the apartments together for the whole of Sabadell is 2,200 square meters, euros per square meter. And just have a look, let's do a calculation of what then that is translating towards. That is 2,200 times 100 square meter of an average apartment. Normally they're a little bit smaller, but it's a simple calculation. So you'll pay on average 220,000 euros for an apartment with 100 square meters in Sabadell. That is an interesting to have in mind. When we do the specific analysis in a bit, you will then also see what is a good deal for the square meters that it has. Is it low or high? And you can also see if that is a good deal with it, which fits in your strategy. Okay, so then let's have a look at the rental market in Sabadell, because this is the for sale market. Let's go to the rentals that are out there on Idealista. That's alquilar, and you already see a super change, which is from the 2,400 apartments for sale in the whole Sabadell, there's only 47 apartments for rent at this moment, which is a huge difference, and there's a kind of a representing characteristic for the whole of Spain. There's a lot more apartments for sale than there's apartments for rent. It's a good indicator if you're applying the rental strategy or the buy-to-let strategy that you will have a lot of demand for your properties. There's not a lot of properties, so the properties that are out there to rent have a lot of demand. Makes sense, right? So you have here 1,400 for 127 square meters, 2,100 150, 1400, 152, 1050, and so on. 800, 860, which is kind of this alquiler temporal. That means that it's being rented per not longer than a year. That's a midterm contract. You have the short-term contracts, 1 day, midterm is for 1 month, and long-term is for 1 year or longer. 1100, 1800. Okay, so let's just go scroll down, then we can just do the calculation again, because we see here that for every square meter price there are 13 euros and 44 cents. If we then just do the same calculation, we see that 13 and 44 times 100 square meters, you will pay 1,344 euros for an average apartment in Sabadell. Okay, also that good to have in mind. Then we have a guideline where to focus on. 1,344. Now let's go also for comparison's sake. Also have a look at what the room rental prices are, because you can also choose for the co-living strategy, renting out rooms. 350 for a room. You don't see the square meter price here. You just need to have a look at what the rooms normally are priced at. 350, 420, 350, 425, 450. Okay, so you kind of see that the 400, maybe 500 price range, that is the price where you normally rent out or rent a room for in Sabadell. Okay, good. Now, then still, how do you find then good deals in that market? Let's go again towards then the apartments that are for sale. And what we then normally do is a trick, especially if you search for properties that are distressed, that need renovation, that you can buy for below the market price or the market value. What we then normally do is you go to here towards the characteristics, which is now in Spanish, but you can easily just put the language to English. For example, you have here relevance, cheap, recent listings that are published, and you have a couple of others. What we normally do is to click on the cheap button and see what just then pops up. And normally what you see here is also, you will see a lot of properties that are occupied, very low, or they have problems. These are normally problem properties, but you see the prices are a lot lower than we have been seeing before. So for example here, an apartment for 48 square meters with one room, 30,000 for 44 square meters, 32,000 for 57 square meters, and you can already see here most likely that there's no pictures. So normally what they then do also is then they highlight that property is occupied, and then they put also it's the opportunity for an investment, and that is then has something to do with that. Also, they don't have photos from the inside because it's occupied. You cannot have a look from the inside. Sometimes you also need to go to an auction to then buy these properties, but you get the idea. Okay, so then let's just scroll down, because normally then at one point you see some apartments that are then still in a good kind of decent thing where you can do something with, and that is, for example, this is also occupied. Yeah, that's for example this one. Okay, so this is a typical building, I would say, for social housing. As you can see, it's very simple and doesn't have anything chic whatsoever, but this could be an interesting idea. So we don't say anything, there's no photos from the inside, but just for easy sake, let's do a quick calculation. That is 41,000. If you would buy it, you will need to pay 10% of purchase tax, and it has 72 square meters with 3 rooms. So let's say you will buy this, you will need to pay then 4k of transfer tax. You will need to do renovation, let's say then 5k or 10k, then we'll be at 55k in total. If that's 55k and you have then 3 rooms to rent out, and we just see that around 400 or 350, but let's say 400 for a room to be renting it out, that means you can then 3 rooms for 400, that is 1200 per month. Let's say then 1200 per year is then 12 times 1200, and let's have a look, because we now know what the total price of this property is. To buy it, 55,000 euros. So if we have 55, let's do first 1200 times 12, that's then 40, and then let's divide that by the total project price, which is 55,000, and then you will see that you can make a gross yield. So there's not net, you need to take out some net cost out of this, but you have a gross yield. So that is then the total yearly rent divided by the total project costs of that property, not just the purchase price, but the total project cost, because most likely an apartment like this, you would need to renovate it quite a bit. Just have a look at another property. Maybe you don't want to do room rentals, but you just want to rent it out to a completely as a normal rental to a family, for example. So here you have another property which is 50 square meters. It's a ground floor property. So if you will buy that, again, you will pay 4K of transfer tax. You will need to perhaps do 5 or 10K as a renovation, so you have 55. So let's then do 55, and you would rent it out for, let's say, well, we now know it's 1300 for 100 square meters, as we just have been calculating before. This is 50 meters, so that's half. So let's just do, for easy sake, that is then 600 per year. So 600 per year, per month, sorry, turns 12, that's per year. And then we would divide this by 55,000 as a total project cost, and you can see here that will be 13% of gross yield, which is very good. And it's also the thing that I would like to end this session with. You now see that there are properties out there with very good yields, which you can get, a rental yields, which you can get, and what then also you have to have in mind, because for us investors, normally for us a property to buy, to let, to rent out starts to get interesting at 8% gross yield, and above 10% is normally a good investment. As you can see here, this is 13% to rent it out to a normal family. If you would like to rent it out the previous apartment for rooms, that was then 26%, which is very good deals. And we're not even talking about maybe flipping it, because if we would then renovate this property and then put it back in the market, we now also know that a property is 220 for a 100 square meter apartment. Remember that we were looking at that. This is 50 square meters. So let's say you would then renovate this for 10 or 15K, you're still at 55 or 60,000 for the total project cost, and you will then be able to sell it for 220 divided by 2, 110. That means that you can earn for around 40,000, right, as a flip, as a margin, because you will sell it for 110, and you've been investing around 60K in it. That is not 50, that is not 40, it's actually 50. So that's then 50 divided by 60K of your investment. That will mean you have a return on investment of more than 80%. So again, now coming back, smaller markets, you need to know how to search for properties. But if you then see properties and you look for the right properties, you use the right filters, have a look at if it's a buy to let or a flip. But this is the proof that the deals are still out there. I hope that you like it. Using your advantage, do it a couple of times, and I'm sure you'll be able, just like me, we're now 10 minutes ahead, that you can analyze a property within 10 minutes and also understand the market, what it is.